Hi, Assalamualaikum. We are from group 15. The topic we choose is the Chicago School, the new classical school. My name is Siti Fatihah binti Ahmad Nazri. Number matric is 56712. My part is introduction and the main. In the introduction, we have three schools, which mean Milton Friedman, Robert E. Lucas Jr. and Gary S. Baker. Okay, Milton Friedman is complete undergraduate works at Rice University, and he also degree from the University of Chicago and Columbia University. Okay, he also is a senior fellow at the Howard Institution of Stanford University. The important things about him, he served columns of Newsweek, wrote popular books and participated in education of television series. In 1957, he published a theory of the consumption function. He also gave some ideas on the role of money in the economy, who called as a monetary theory. Next school is Robert E. Lucas Jr. He was born in Tacna at Washington and earned his BA and PhD at the University of Chicago. During his graduated, he also was influenced by Friedman, who is a first-year macroeconomist in a degree program. He spent a lot of time of his career at Carnegie Mellon. In 1974, returned to the Chicago. In 1975, he also was win the Nobel Prize in Economy for his contribution in macroeconomy. The next part is the second part is the main of the principal historical. We have four the main or principle, which means the first is optimizing behavior, limited government. The third is mathematical orientation, and the lastly is rejection of the king's nation. And the second part is the main participle of the historical school. The first is optimizing behavior. The optimizing behavior is a school of Chicago stress the neoclassical principle that the people attempt to maximize their well-being. The basic of economy is about the individual, so that the individual combine into the large of unit of families or the practical group, and also the people make choice, but some choices not always produce the result. The second one is limited government. The limited government is objective that can be satisfied through the private exchange. Example of government has their own objective that they can seek to optimize and divide a portion of the resources and at disposal to purpose the benefit of the benefit or tax payers. The last school is Gary S. Baker. He was born at Venezuela and was undergraduate in University of Chicago. Between 1957 and 1969, he was a professor at the Columbia University. He also be a president of American American Economic Association in 1980, and he was said in the one of the most original minds in modern economics. However, in 1918, he contributing columns of Business Week, which has increased his exposure to the broader public. He was been an intellectual imperialist, and he also extended the economic approach in its combination assumption of stable performance, market equilibrium, and others. The third is mathematical orientation. The mathematical orientation is the Chicago School said they release heavily mathematical theorizing using both the Marshallian practical equilibrium. The mathematical orientation also is a empirical benefit. The empirical benefication is stressed, but something benefits to others. The last one is rejection of the Keynesianism. In this economy is a self-adjusting, and regulating. It serves the patient's result from in a monthly policy. The fiscal policy is generally ineffective unless accompanied by change the money supply or the supplies. In the theory of rejection of Keynes, also the seller of the inflation, because always a monetary phenomena. That's all.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Tor Azmat bin Muhammad Rizal, metric number S56741. So today I would like to present to you the major contribution to economic theory of Chicago School. But many point I found, but I just choose three important point to you because of not enough time. So many of the Chicago School contribution to the economy, which is help convince the general population and elected officials that the competitive market system, where its characteristic features of the competitive market is that it involves the number of buyer and seller. A competitive market, which is sometimes referred to as a perfectly competitive market. The competitive market consists of a relatively small number of buyers and sellers compared to the overall size of the market. The second is that sellers in the market offer products that are homogeneous and similar. For example, there is no big product differentiation, branding, and so on. The third is that companies are free to go in and out of the market. In a competitive market, there are no barriers, exit and entry. Point number 2 is left relatively free of government interference, where the economy is freedom from government intervention. So all decisions are made by decision market. So point number 3 is producer maximum economic freedom. So there is no restriction of surplus good in the market that can be restricted by other parties. So that's all for me. Thank you.
My name is Mia Muhammad Arif bin Muhammad Narazam, S56541. Founder of runners in the Chicago School. Frank Heinemann Knight. Frank Heinemann Knight was an American economist who worked much of his time at Chicago University and became a Chicago School founder. Nobel Prize winner Milton Friedman, George Stigler, and James M. Buchanan were all Knight students in Chicago. Frank Heinemann Knight, who thought benefit would be a compensation for volatility and wouldn't tolerate risk, put forward Knight's theory of profits. Simply put, benefit is the entrepreneurial residual returns to deal with market volatility. Milton Friedman, 1912 to 2006. Friedman described himself as a 19th century liberal. He was referring to the economic liberalism that we associate with the classical economists who emphasize economic freedom. Friedman issued a theory of consumption in 1957, suggesting that the Keynesian consumer function is too simplistic. Friedman is better known for his theory about the role of money in the economy. In this context, he addressed various interrelated subjects, including money demand, the quantity theory of money, the cause of the Great Depression, the long-run vertical Phillips curve, and the monetary rule. He was president of the American Economic Association in 1967 and won the Nobel Prize in Economics in 1976. He was a journalist for the Newsweek, wrote well Knowles' book, took part in educational television program, and submit address to a number of organizations. Robert E. Lucas Jr. He was born in 1937 in Yakima, Washington. He was influenced by Friedman, who taught first year macroeconomics in the graduate program, and by Samuelson Foundation of Economic Analysis. He developing and applying the theory of rational expectation and econometric hypothesis. Lucas was responsible for publishing or co-editing many economic journals and was president of the American Economic Association and Economic Society for some time. Lucas' analysis distinguished between short-run and long-run aggregate supply. Gary S. Becker. He was born in Boston, Pennsylvania, and received his doctorate from the University of Chicago. He served as the president of the U.S. Economic Association in 1986 and is one of the most original minds in contemporary economics. In 1957, Becker wrote The Economics of Discrimination, a new edition of his 1955 PhD. Becker presents the principle of human resource investment in its new and widespread form of human capital. Becker built a decade-long study to analyze the time allocation for children and market employment.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Fikri bin Muhammad Saleh. My number matter is S56677. I will continue in conclusion. In conclusion, what we can learn from Chicago School policy is the concept of rational expectation. Chicago School has a theory that the reduction of elimination of rule about business can benefit the economy. By managing general price level, economic growth can be better managed in a world where individual and group rationally make economic allocation decisions. Also benefit to economy, according to the Chicago School, is the reduction of elimination of regulation on business. George Stigler, another Nobel laureate, developed theory regarding the impact of government regulation on business. Chicago School is a libertarian and laissez-faire at its core, rejecting Keynesian notion of government managing aggregate economic demand to promote growth. Next, Is there the Chicago School theory from the school valid until today? The answer is that some can be used and some cannot be used. As in Chicago School theory mentioned, this theory is used to reduce large companies with exerting market monopoly. This will allow small companies to penetrate new market. One of the problems with the theory of the Chicago School theory is the presumption that social disorganization is cause delinquency. Both social disorganization and delinquency may be the product of other, more basic factors. For example, the decision made by political and economic elite about how a city will go. Thank you.